It's better to travel on your own. Or is it? Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, tonight I'm going to look at the pros and cons of travelling on your own and the pros and cons of travelling with someone else. I want you to picture this. It's 1987. My girlfriend Tracy and I had just finished 3 years of our nursing training. We'd saved some money. The world was our oyster. And we were off to explore every one of its pearls. And we were going indefinitely. I love the word indefinitely. It meant we were coming back if and when we were good and ready and not before. The reality was, we came back when the money ran out, which was a bit sooner than we'd actually anticipated. But still, we had a good time. The good thing about travelling with Tracy was that there was always someone to share things with, someone to watch my bag. You're more adventurous when you're with someone else. We were on a little island in Thailand called Koh Samui, and we hired a motorbike. We went all over that island. We went up little dark, dingy roads and up disused paths. We even stacked the motorbike, but it was okay because we were together. And when she got sick in China, I looked after her. And then I got sick in Thailand and she looked after me. But the novelty of being with someone 24/7 soon wore off. By the time we got to China, it was hot and humid and sticky and we were cranky. And we woke up some days and we said nothing but just look at each other and go, ah! And we just go our separate ways for the day. So after that, I decided it's much better to travel on my own, which I did. I travelled lots on my own. I met the most amazing people and had the most incredible adventures and experiences. But I found that to do that, you really had to stay somewhere like at Backpackers where there's lots of single travellers and people come and talk to you when you're on your own. It's a bit daunting when you're with someone else, but when you're on your own, travellers seem to find each other. They gravitate and you go and make plans and you do stuff together. And I found my favourite backpackers of all time was in Phoenix, Arizona. Oh, that was a great place. I got a really bad haircut from the manager of the backpackers. I used their address to get my US driver's license. That became my official residence. And I met a guy called Don from Alaska who became quite a good friend. And he helped me buy my car, the Wildebeest. It was a little brown Toyota wagon. I love that car. We bought it from a priest, or so they said. And I just wonder if that's the American equivalent of it's been driven by a little old lady to church on Sundays. But it was great. I drove that little car all over the US. I drove it for 18,000 miles. But then when I got a bit older, and I was a bit tired of the backpackers experience, the gaggle of giggling girls that came in at 2 a.m. and woke me up, and the same girls that would get up in the morning and they were more concerned with how much cleavage they could get away with or what guy liked them the night before. And let's face it, I was older, I had a bit of money. I took to staying at motels. Way more comfortable than backpackers, much nicer. But the trouble with staying in motels, they're really lonely. I was staying there on my own. I took to taking a book to the dinner table in the restaurant, so I didn't look like some loser with no friends. And then another time I was at a 5-star resort in the US Virgin Islands in St. John's. I was sipping fluffy ducks, watching this magnificent sunset thinking, what am I doing here? I am so lonely. And I've been to Los Angeles 3 times as well. And I've been to Universal Studios 3 times. I really want to go to Disneyland, but I've never been there because I don't want to go on my own. But the most poignant thing that ever happened to me was the time that I went to see the Grand Canyon for the first time. Now, if any of you have ever been to the Grand Canyon, you know exactly what I mean. You walk through the bush in what's pretty much otherwise a fairly flat orange land with a few sandstone monument things, but really it's fairly flat. You walk through the trees with no idea about what's about to happen to you. And you come across the edge of this abyss, a testament of what the Colorado River has done over the last couple of million years. It is immense, and your mind just cannot comprehend the sheer size of this huge ditch. They call it the Big Ditch. It's so big. And my eyes were wide. And my mouth took my breath away. And I went, wow. And it was in that moment that I realised that you really need to travel with someone else. I needed to be able to share that with someone. And so what I think is, when you're young and you're staying at Backpackers, go on your own. You'll have way much more fun. You'll meet so many more people and have so many more experiences. But when you're older, and you can afford it, stay at nice motels. But you've got to travel with someone who's close to you, whether that be your partner or your best friend. Someone to sit with you at the dinner table and talk to you. Someone to sit fluffy ducks and to watch the sunset. Someone to experience with you the inexplicable feelings that you get when you see the Grand Canyon for the very first time. And when you travel with someone else, you don't have to go to Universal Studios 3 times. You can go straight for Disneyland.